Am I the asshole for asking a customer, "Why are you even in here?" and embarrassing them? I own a small business, specifically a card and gaming shop. We sell a plethora of gaming cards like Magic, Pokémon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, various sports cards, everything in between. We also carry a wide variety of T-shirts related to card games, sports cards, anime, etc. And have a huge gaming area where we hold card game tournaments where customers can come play boards games or whatever they'd like. So what happened? This guy comes in the other day. I greet him and he starts looking around. After a few minutes I tell him to let me know if there's anything I can help with. He then starts pointing at stuff and asking some high-key offensive, rude questions. Here are some examples of specific things he asked, said. Holy shit, are those Pokémon cards? I thought those things went extinct a long time ago. Me, yeah, we have packs, boxes, starter decks, they're actually really popular the past few years. Wow, so parent buy these for their kids to shove in a bike, spoke, laughs. I said something about how people of all ages play competitively. We even host tournaments. Looking at the shirts. How much are the shirts? Actually never mind. Some of them look cool but I wouldn't want anyone to think I'm into this crap. Me, well, they're $16.99. So these are the cartoons that all those emo kids watch? Looking at the anime section. At this point I was getting extremely uncomfortable with him crapping all over my store and effectively the customers I serve on a daily basis. Then he walks past the empty table section where we usually host card game tournaments. We are not hosting any tournaments until certain COVID restrictions lift, and says loudly, so do the neckbeards have to rent a seat or something to play, or do you just let them mooch off of the store's AC while they play? At this point he had been in the store for well over 30 minutes and had asked several disrespectful, offensive questions, statements, and I had had enough. I had customers in the store and I was pissed that he was potentially making them feel uncomfortable or like they were somehow losers just because they have these hobbies, because that's how I was feeling. I let out a big sigh and said, "Why are you even in a gaming shop if you hate everything about cards and gaming?" He was very clearly embarrassed, spent a few awkward silent minutes walking back around and left out the door. I consciously didn't say goodbye or anything because I didn't want it to come out like "have a nice day" in the "fuck you" type of tone. My employee told me it was rude of me to say that to him, and I probably made him feel like he wasn't welcome in our hobby community when it's supposed to be all-inclusive, which I preach to my employees religiously. I think I might be the asshole for how I handled it. But I feel like I was justified after the things he said. Am I the asshole for saying what I said and embarrassing him? Edit 1. This was a buff, decently attractive 30-something-year-old, if that matters. Not some super out of touch with times older person. Older folks come in all he time, and if they don't get the hobby I just try my best to explain it, but they're never walking around calling everything dumb. Edit 2. I'm a woman, if that matters to anyone. Edit 3. I'm heavily and obviously pregnant, so I doubt it has anything to do with his trying to weirdly spark a convo with me, but I've been wrong before.
Not the asshole. All-inclusive does not mean including people who are bullying your customer base. It means allowing anyone who wants to participate without being an asshole to other people, to do so. Part of being an inclusive community is about keeping out people who are going to harm and try to alienate people in that community. Otherwise, it will foster an environment that does exclude people who aren't okay with being harassed. For instance, if you ran a group and were like, "We're inclusive to black people," and to racists, you would actually be excluding black people, because they're being made to feel unwelcome by the racists. Being inclusive is about allowing people from different backgrounds, not about allowing assholes. You're still allowed to have a general code of conduct. I don't even feel like you were that rude to him. Not the asshole.
Not the asshole. Paradox of tolerance. You can't have a tolerant community without being intolerant of the intolerant.
30 minutes. Ah, hell nah. The patience you wield is amazing. What a loser that dude is. Not the asshole.
Not the asshole. I make fun of my nerd friends while simultaneously claiming I am also a nerd of my own degree. Sounds like this guy was just a bro douche who's insecure about maybe liking nerd whatnots.
Not the asshole. In the before times, I used to go to D&D Adventurers League at a place like this. I loved how inclusive it was. Some of the people there, like the stereotype, didn't really fit into society any other way. Others crammed themselves in all week, and this was their one night to be half-elf priest Asana instead of Lisa from accounts payable. It would break my heart to think of someone coming in and loudly trashing everything they see. Places like yours are precious and must be protected. I hope your store is doing okay with all of this. I'm going with not the asshole. As the saying goes, we reserve the right to deny service to any person, for any reason. Given the behavior that was described, you do not want that kind of customer in your store, given that he was denigrating and deriding your business and your clientele. You would have been quite within your rights to say, "You are no longer welcome within my premises, please leave immediately."
Not the asshole. You weren't telling him he couldn't be there because he doesn't like the things you sell. You said it because he was asking questions, possibly in the earshot of actual customers, that might offend them. There really didn't seem to be a good reason that he was there anyway. Seems like you asked a reasonable question given the attitude. Being insulting and negative towards you and the rest of your regular clientele doesn't exactly suggest this was someone who wanted to be included. Maybe it wasn't the nicest way to say it, but it wasn't uncalled for. Not the asshole.
Not the asshole is someone who plays FNM, pre-COVID, and would go to tournaments. I hated people like that. Parents and SOs would show up and do nothing but complain and mock everyone. Sometimes I'd be the only girl there and was always asked why. Apparently I was there because most nerds work in IT and that's a good paying job.
Not the asshole, it's your place of business and someone was being consistently rude. He was asked a simple question as a result of his behavior, it's not your fault he got embarrassed. You can be all-inclusive, but it shouldn't be at the detriment of the other people in the store and people you have in your community.
Not the asshole. He was actively vilifying your customer base, you don't need his business.
God, this feels so made up. Almost everything about it feels like a really benign and kind of pathetic fantasy. If it's true, you're not the asshole. Why? Because your question was legitimate. So legitimate that it's hard for me to believe this actually happened.
So not the asshole, and side note, can I work for you? Lol. Seriously sounds like an awesome shop, similar to one I used to go to. You don't need your regular customers thinking that behavior is okay and make them and you feel crap about liking games.
Why are you posting obviously fake garbage on the internet?
Not the asshole. Card and gaming shops can breed some awful bullies and drama on their own. You don't need to let any more come in and interfere with your business.
Not the asshole. He came into your shop just to crap on everything and everybody. Letting him stay would have pissed off, embarrassed your customers.
The edits just got weirder and weirder.
Not the asshole. Yes, what you said was rude, no denying that, but he was being rude first. It was justified. It is okay to respond rudely to someone who is being rude and disrespectful to you.
Not the asshole. Sounds exactly like my ex-husband. My kids all had different fandoms and several different card games they played or still do. He would 100% be the type to go into a shop to buy them something and get confused and rude because his pride would not let him ask real questions or admit not knowing enough about his kids' interests.
That was a good question though. Why go somewhere by yourself wasting your time and gas just to complain about it? Not the asshole. He obviously wasn't going to buy anything. Not the asshole. You put up with him for 30 minutes while he openly mocked your customers. It's fair to ask why he was even there if all he wanted to do was make fun of everything. His comments probably wouldn't make your customers feel welcome, so you're making the hobby inclusive by kicking out people like him.
Not the asshole. This customer was not there to show any sort of interest in the games, rather to be insulting and rather was being an ass. You brought to the forefront to the point right in front of everyone. But here is the question that is on my mind. What if you had children there or were having a tournament? What would have been the reaction of some of the players there and how badly would it have done with that person present?
I have a feeling that, maybe, he was trying to impress you in a very immature and weird way. Not the asshole. He was actively being a dick just to be a dick. Being inclusive means you allow anyone who wants to be part of your community to be part. It does not mean you allow people to attack you in your own home base.
Not the asshole. I'm thinking maybe he was trying and failing some small talk, working up some courage to ask you out. Otherwise, why spend so much time in a place he didn't feel comfortable in? I definitely don't look like a nerd but love the shit. I can't see any reason someone like that would stay in there that long unless it was either that or wanting to get a present for someone. But the way they spoke about your products and customers makes me think they were trying to, and really failing, impress upon you how alpha they were.
Not the asshole. I'm mad at your employee for taking the douche's side. They didn't have to deal with him, so they need to STF you. But I think you should fully educate your employee on why you said what you did. That the man was saying offensive things and making customers uncomfortable.
Not the asshole. As an old boss of mine used to say, we are here to serve customers, and someone acting like that isn't a customer because they have no intention to purchase anything and every intention to waste your time. It's okay to ask someone like that to leave, or at least knock off the attitude.
Not the asshole. Sounds like someone trying to make themselves feel superior, shitting all over things others enjoy. Being inclusive was welcoming the guy in and explaining things. But allowing him for 30 minutes to shit all over your customers, what they enjoy, and your store, is just allowing abuse.
Stand your ground. Honestly, you were asking a serious question after he came in and insulted the contents and the patrons in your store. I'm sure in hindsight you feel like you could have handled it better, but that guy definitely wasn't being appropriate, whether he himself may have been feeling uncomfortable or something. Seriously, going into a hobby shop and saying stuff like that. Are you dense? As a fellow nerd, I extend a thank you for sticking up for yourself and your customers. It will be a learning experience for future encounters. Not the asshole.
Not the asshole.
My best bet is a closeted nerd that actually likes stuff like that but is in denial. A person that hates the stuff wouldn't stick around for 30 minutes, and if they did they'd get a kick of you asking why they're even in there. They'd say shit like, it's like visiting a zoo. That said, still not the asshole, but if he comes back ask if he played anything as a kid. Chances are he was bullied out of it and co-opted his bully's opinions of nerdy hobbies. Almost happened to me, but I had good friends that didn't let me change to please my bullies.
Upvoting just for OP's username OK sign.
Exactly how included and welcome in your store would any legitimate customer have felt if they were shopping at the same time and heard this guy crap all over them for half an hour without pushback? But honestly, I have no idea why the guy felt offended, because, why are you in here then, isn't even a particularly rude thing to say to someone who is not shopping and is actively insulting your products and customers. I totally get why your employees might want to punt dealing with people like him to you, the one with the most power, but they do need to know that not dealing with him at all is actively bad for your business. Basic human decency is a pretty standard bar to have to meet in order to be able to patronize a business. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. He wasn't looking to be included, he did nothing but make fun of your store. As an owner, you definitely have a reason to ask him why he's there. It would be one thing if he was curious or making a purchase for a loved one, but he made no effort to do those things. He was the asshole, you definitely were not.
Not the asshole. Customer sounds like someone that needs to read more. Not the asshole. He was embarrassed because you called him on his behavior. Not your problem. Also a fair point you made in my opinion. And your edit saying that you're a woman. We'll obviously never know for sure, but I can't but wonder if chauvinism played a part. Your post reads differently with that info. Like, was he trying to neg you or something?
Not the asshole. I wonder if he thought pretending to be too cool for nerd stuff was going to get him in the pretty lady worker's pants. Clearly she only sees neckbeards and incels, and not real men like him.
Not the asshole. When you asked why he was even in the store, that would have been his cue to say, sorry, I'm actually kind of hoping to get started, but I'm feeling embarrassed because I don't know where to start. Also, inclusivity doesn't mean you let bullies like him make your existing customers feel bad. He was the one not demonstrating inclusivity by insulting everything and everyone. You didn't make him feel unwelcome, he did that to himself. I'm also a little surprised your employee said that to you. Even if you had said what you said in the saltiest tone, you have the right as the owner of the shop to tell someone to GTFO. Not the asshole. I'd ask your employee if he thinks the dude calling people like my husband and kids neckbeards okay? If I had been standing there as a customer, I would have said something myself. Having a hobby isn't shameful. Magic and Pokémon is a version of chess. Highly intelligent people play these games. Obviously this idiot wasn't that smart.
Not the asshole. This reminded me of when I worked at an anime shop years ago. So many weird, offensive customers. I definitely had someone like this too, browsing in an anime shop but telling me they don't like anime. Even funnier, I played my own Japanese music, lots of anime op and ed, and was asked, who actually listens to this stuff?
Not the asshole. You spent 30 minutes trying to help him while he mocked you, your customers, and your products. You didn't call him names. You merely let your frustration at having your time wasted by a rude jerk show with your sigh, and asked him a legitimate question. He got embarrassed because he didn't have a socially acceptable answer, since, "I'm here to make fun of people and try to make you feel small," wasn't exactly going to win him any fans or supporters.
Not the asshole. With your second edit, I started thinking maybe he came in to flirt and for some reason he thought you'd be impressed by his not being a card game type of person. You didn't kick him out though either. You just asked a super legit question given his behavior.
I knew quite a few people growing up who actively dissed on anything they didn't like. They did it with complete disregard to if anyone around them enjoyed it and somehow, every time, would be surprised and defensive when called out on it. Some people literally have no empathy and an ego the size of a self-sustaining all-powerful planet. Not the asshole, and they deserve to be embarrassed by their trash behavior.
Not the asshole. Sounds like the guy came into the store with some pretty small dick energy and was trying to make himself feel better by bashing on others. Dude deserved to be embarrassed and more.
He was obviously interested in something. Game or you or somebody that does game. I think a fitting answer here would have been, "But, hey, dude, mister, instead of harping on the lifestyle and hobby, how about you join us one day and see what it all is about? Maybe this will make more sense for you then. Leave your email address and we will send you the details when everything opens up again. Have a nice dag." Single quote.
So I used to be an actual asshole. Like full-on made people cry at school. Character development blah blah. I'm fucking mortified of the kid I used to be. So I keep all that in a shoebox with some air holes now. When do I take my asshole out? For situations like these, I try to make everyone have a brighter day however I can. But when I find some prick out in the wilds, I travel back in time, tag my old self in and say have some fun. Not the asshole. You can play the asshole to an asshole and not be an asshole yourself.
Not the asshole. Good on you for embarrassing him after he was being such an ass. I'd suggest a deep dive into the world of Gord. Much can be learned about how to create an all-inclusive environment while also embracing a zero-tolerance policy towards jackasses. Opening square bracket dot. Oh, and totally not the asshole.
I'm leaning towards no assholes here with a splash of not the asshole. This could be a lot more complicated than it appears. Maybe this dude secretly wanted to get involved in the gaming community but was embarrassed. You did describe him as a normie, for lack of better terms, and needed some time to warm up. Maybe he has communication issues or no filter. Or maybe he truly was just being a judgmental jerk. I don't think your message was wrong, but I do think it was a little harsh.